On the last day of my college entrance exams, I threw a stack of cash at Ethan in front of the entire class. I'm done playing games. This ends here. He bent down, picking up each bill from the floor. Fine, he rasped. When summer ended, Ethan boarded a train bound for an Ivy League university. I flew overseas to begin endless rounds of chemotherapy. Years later, I returned home bald from treatment. Scrolling through wig options in my hospital bed when the door swung open, there stood Ethan in his white coat, our eyes locking across the room. I'd been sprawled on my stomach when he entered, my phone blaring, 618 mega sale. Limited stock. Emma. Shopping for wigs again? The room fell silent. A nurse gestured at me, Dr. Johnson. Our new trial participant. Consent forms are signed. When Ethan turned, I jerked sideways like an uprooted weed. Mind blanking. 10 years. The man I'd sworn never to see again now stood as my attending physician, catching me mid-gas relief exercises. Mortified, I scrambled upright, adjusting my crooked mask without meeting his gaze. That clinical stare felt nothing like the warm frustration he'd shown when I botched math problems long ago. Emma. This is Dr. Johnson. He'll oversee your treatment. I nodded hastily, throat tight. An intern began reciting my chart. Emma Wilson. 28. Initial lymphoma diagnosis at 18. Pathology revealed. Skip the recap. You know this patient? My pulse hammered as I pretended to focus on my phone. Ethan's gaze lingered on my ridiculous sheephorn headwear. After an eternity, he said flatly, never met her. Interesting case study. My screen flashed payment reminders for my abandoned wig cart. The intern droned through treatment plans. Ethan nodded. Continue current protocol. Scan tomorrow. He moved to the next bed without glancing back. 20 minutes later, I unclenched my stiff shoulders, discovering sweat-dampened sheets. My chosen wig had sold out during the commotion. At least Ethan showed no recognition when they said my name, not even a flicker. When Ethan and I first met, we'd hated each other on sight. Growing up with a bit of family wealth, I acted recklessly and consistently ranked last academically. To motivate me, our homeroom teacher assigned Ethan as my desk partner. At first, Ethan barely acknowledged me, burying himself in practice tests he'd solve repeatedly. He had it all: sharp mind, easygoing personality, model looks. His only flaw? Being broke. Meanwhile, I lacked both brains and charm, sitting beside him like an airhead rich girl. But I played to my strengths. While every girl in school showered him with flowers and love letters, I bought him SAT prep books. Every practice exam he used came from me. By semester's end, I'd won him over. The day I nervously kissed Ethan happened to be his birthday. His white shirt rumpled, lips smudged with my lipstick. He looked down asking, "What's this mean?" My brain short-circuited during my first guy kiss. Don't you get it?" I stammered. "Be my boyfriend." His ears flushed pink. Okay. Those days glowed. I'd actually sit still in class, letting Ethan tutor me. Within a year, my scores jumped over 100 points, enough for Beijing universities. No long-distance relationship needed. If only the routine physical hadn't revealed. Herc, my retching echoed through the hospital room, clutching the toilet, dizzy and drenched in cold sweat. I felt Olivia pat my back. "This isn't sustainable. Let me page the doctor." "Don't." I croaked. "I'm used to it. 27 chemo rounds alone abroad 10 years ago. Survived a decade before relapse. No point annoying staff when more suffering loomed." Olivia persisted. "Isn't Ethan your attending?" "Hill." I grabbed her arm. "For God's sake, be glad he didn't recognize me. If he had, he'd prescribe 100 chemo sessions. Who said anything about 100 treatments?" That cool voice froze my spine. Olivia exhaled. Dr. Johnson. Emma's having normal chemo reaction. If she can't tolerate it. I stopped listening. Panicking, did he hear? That evening, a nurse administering anti-nausea shots probed, no Dr. Johnson? He never interferes. But specifically ordered these for you. Staring at my gaunt reflection, hollowed by illness. Barely resembling my former self, I lied, never met him. Impossible he'd remember. Even with Ethan's sharp memory, yes. He has an excellent memory. What if he holds a grudge against me forever? The glaring name Emma Wilson is hanging above the bed. How could I possibly think you wouldn't recognize me? My best friend chimed in. Your Professor Johnson is only 28. Became a professor so young? Well, you sure know your stuff. I replied. Professor Johnson did the combined MD-PhD program. He was barely 26 when he finished his doctorate. His credentials are exceptionally rare, most people can't compare. The nurses noticed my friend's interest in Ethan and teased. Trying to chase our Professor Johnson? Don't even bother. He's already taken. My friend shot me a knowing look. A nurse added. The dean's daughter, a PhD returnee from overseas. Rumor has it they might announce their engagement any day now. My friend's smile froze. I fiddled with the loose threads on my hospital gown, suddenly fascinated by the fraying fabric. After the nurses left, my friend blurted, Emma, I'm so sorry, it's fine. I cut her off. I'm 28, not 18. I stopped dreaming about cold-hearted geniuses falling for me a decade ago. I never saw Ethan again after that day. Those snippets about him kept surfacing, attending conferences, conducting research at the lab, making weekly rounds to review treatment plans. During chemotherapy breaks, patients could go home. By discharge day, Ethan remained conspicuously absent. On the ride home, my high school class monitor called. Emma! Still in Beijing? How's treatment? Background noise swallowed his voice until another classmate interjected. Why didn't you tell us you were sick? We only found out through the monitor. I forced a laugh. Didn't want to trouble anyone. Nonsense. Where are you staying? We're visiting tomorrow. Relenting. I shared the address. My family's medical bills had drained our savings. But thanks to my friend, I'd rented a modest ground-floor apartment with a south-facing yard, perfect for gardening or a dog, if my health allowed. Only half a dozen classmates showed up, most having settled elsewhere after graduation. They barged in with grocery bags, debating whether to make hot pot. It's too hot. Someone protested. I adjusted my knit cap. We've got AC. I'm craving hot pot. The kitchen erupted in chaos, the boisterous energy mirroring our teenage selves. As the monitor chopped vegetables, he asked casually, Have you contacted Ethan? My pause betrayed me. You know he's a hematology specialist? Lymphoma's his expertise. You should consult him. Before I could deflect, the doorbell rang. The monitor answered, triggering excited shouts. Ethan! You made it! Professor! Long time no see. My classmates swarmed the entryway. Come settle this, Emma wants hot pot. As her doctor, what's your verdict? I froze in place, my unmasked face suddenly feeling exposed under the scorching sunlight. I never imagined they'd actually reached out to Ethan. Worse yet, I'd run into him looking like this, no makeup, no mask. Completely unprepared. Ethan glanced at me calmly. Let's do the clear broth hot pot. Absolutely. Listen to the professor here. No spicy broth. The room buzzed with renewed activity as Ethan accepted house slippers from our class monitor, exchanging them for his shoes. He handed a grocery bag of fruit to students in the kitchen. Our monitor tried lightening the mood. Come on. Whatever happened is ancient history. Let bygones be bygones. Ethan. Don't hold it against Emma. Yeah. Help us prep the vegetables. A colander overflowing with water spinach got shoved into Ethan's arms, pushing him onto the couch opposite me. Suddenly, the living room contained only us two and the rattling air conditioner in the corner. I avoided his gaze, fumbling for the mask in my back pocket. Snap. Ethan broke off a vegetable stem with unnecessary force. Since we've already recognized each other, is there still a point in hiding? The awkwardness hung thick, or maybe that was just my perception. After an eternity, I stuffed the mask away miserably. I thought you hadn't recognized me at the hospital. That's why I didn't say hello earlier. Unnecessary. What? We're not acquainted. No need for greetings. He kept his eyes on the vegetables, fingers moving with practiced efficiency. Nodding stiffly, I nudged my water glass toward him. You should hydrate? Not thirsty. The monitor's voice saved me. Emma! We need kitchen towels from the bottom cabinet. The antique furniture groaned in protest as I yanked the drawer. The entire cabinet shook violently, sending an upside-down photo frame sliding from its perch. I barely registered the danger before ducking into a protective crouch. Shadow fell across me as Ethan caught the falling frame. Backlit by sunlight, his expression remained unreadable beyond the obvious displeasure radiating from him. Thanks. I mumbled, scrambling up only to freeze at his transfixed gaze fixed on the photo inside the frame. There it was, my stolen snapshot of Ethan asleep during our school days. Summer light dappled across his youthful features, so peaceful he hadn't noticed me intertwining our fingers. At this moment, I was considering the possibility of snatching the photo and swallowing it. Emma. Huh? Explain. I hesitated, instinctively scratching my head and pulling out a strand of hair. Under Ethan's icy gaze, I forced a laugh. Isn't this the ex-wall? Ha ha. Just keeping mementos. Oh really? Ethan pointed at several group photos of me with girlfriends, his controlled voice wavering. By that logic, you've dated women too? I swallowed hard. Why yeah, I've, dated all kinds. Ethan's piercing stare felt scorching. My smile gradually faded as my eyes darted everywhere except his face. Emma. You, Olivia started as she opened the kitchen door, then abruptly stopped upon sensing the tense atmosphere. Ethan silently returned the frame to its place, wiped his hands with tissue, grabbed his coat and headed out. Ethan! Where are you going? Hospital emergency. But we haven't finished discussing Emma's situation, Ethan. Stay for dinner. Pausing at the doorway, Ethan glanced at my silent figure as if waiting for words that never came. A bitter chuckle escaped him. Is there any point in an unwelcome ex like me staying here? The door clicked shut. The brief tension dissolved as Olivia's aromatic hot pot filled the air. Olivia, you've still got the magic touch after all these years. The host beamed, teacup in hand. Emma, don't take it to heart. Ethan, well, I'll talk sense into him later. He'd never disrespect his old class president. Others chimed in while I poked at my food. Truthfully, I felt more guilt than hurt. In my mind, Ethan and I were never meant to cross paths this deeply again. My medical issues shouldn't become his burden. As we ate, Olivia initiated a video call in our class group chat. Few answered, but the chat exploded with nostalgic banter about graduation trip plans and teenage dreams. Memories flooded back, Ethan finding me during finals week doodling on a map with markers. What's this? He'd asked. I waved the paper triumphantly. Beijing. See? 2 red circles glowed on the sketched city. This is your school. This is my school. I connected 2 points with a straight line using my pen. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line that'll be the distance between us from now on. Ethan chuckled. You want to test into a Beijing university? What? Aren't you happy about it? I sat down beside him, neatly stacking exam papers into the desk compartment. He said softly, I am. Then my luck ran out. Within days I received medical reports. The lab results were disastrous, with warning arrows crawling across the entire page. Doctors urged my parents to take me to Beijing for further tests. Given the circumstances, college seemed impossible. I casually asked Ethan, "Hey, if I got seriously ill and couldn't go to Beijing, what would you do?" His pen paused. "Are you sick?" "Ugh. Don't jinx me. You're the one who's sick. It's a hypothetical question. Answer properly. I could get into the best medical school. Just need to adjust my application." His words made me restless. I shoved my math test at him. "Enough. Go solve your equations. Nerd. Why study medicine when you love math so much?" On the afternoon before final exams, nosebleeds started. Blood stained my test booklet, not sure if that counts as answer sheet contamination. It didn't matter anymore. I left for Beijing that night. Standing on Beijing's bustling streets, I nearly cried. Our Beijing promise I arrived first after all. Then came diagnosis, returning home to pack, and publicly throwing cash at Ethan in front of classmates. Our relationship ended with that crude period. During my second hospitalization in the same ward, the patient next to me had changed. The previous child died earlier this month, not even 5 years old. My best friend's eyes reddened when she heard. I was angrily arguing with an online seller. "Do I look like a bank robber to you?" "Sweetie, we're all law-abiding citizens here." Sent a photo of me wearing pantyhose over my head. "I ordered hats but you sent pantyhose?" Ethan entered right as my Taobao refund came through. I turtle dived under the hospital blanket, leaving only my butt exposed. "Emma." His voice was calm, muffled from undercovers. "Emma's not here. I'm her best friend." "My friend." Ethan peeled back the blanket anyway. My hair stuck up like a guilty stray dog's as I looked up at him. His face was stern, lips pressed tight. A female doctor chuckled. "Dr. Johnson adjusted your medication plan." But well, the unspoken conclusion hung in the air. Other patients laughed. Only Ethan remained serious. "You're clearly in no state for this. I'll return tomorrow." "Wait. Professor Johnson. Please go on." "I'm listening." I hastily grabbed his lab coat hem. Years of seeking treatment having conditioned me to desperate pleas. Ethan's gaze fell on my fingertips. He opened his mouth, brows furrowing deeply, for a fleeting moment. I almost thought he might cry. Must be the fever messing with my head. Ethan stood by the hospital bed, reciting medical instructions with clinical detachment for nearly half an hour. Each sentence contained deliberate pauses, ensuring comprehension. He proposed switching to a new medication with promising efficacy but severe side effects. Leaning against the pillows, I forced a smile. "Hey, I get it. Clinical trials need participants. Never went to college. Never contributed much to society anyway. If this fails," I shrugged. "No great loss." "Emma." His lips pressed into a thin line, the stern expression paradoxically calming me. "I don't gamble with human lives." The drug's retaliation came swiftly. Administered at dawn, I was hugging the toilet by dusk, retching until my throat burned. Heartburn and agitation followed. During my friend's coffee break, I wheeled myself to the hospital courtyard. Golden hour. Sunset gilded the lake's surface, wind rippling waves into schools of shimmering koi. I alternated between gulping fresh air and vomiting into a plastic bag. When I resurfaced, a woman materialized before me. "Miss Wilson." What a coincidence. The female physician who'd stood beside Ethan days earlier. Before I could ask her name, she extended a hand. "Olivia." Her diamond ring flashed as we shook hands, same surname as the hospital director. The director's daughter? Ethan's fiancée? Olivia settled beside me, honeyed voice inquiring. "How did you meet Ethan?" It took me seconds to recognize Ethan as Johnson. The air turned viscous with unspoken history. Exes and current flames, always awkward. I adjusted my crooked beanie. High school classmates. Just classmates? When I didn't elaborate, she laughed softly. That's not what I heard. You're the ex who dumped him after graduation with a stack of cash. Her tone sharpened. Was it the diagnosis? Thought you'd push him away with some grand gesture? Wind whipped between us as I stayed silent. How pathetic. Olivia sneered. Should thank you. Really. Your little drama made our engagement possible. Years of illness had sanded down my edges. Yet this provoked a response. Then kneel in gratitude. Wire me $5 million while you're at it. Her composure cracked. You want me to say I regret it? I snapped. Fine. I regret it. Olivia's smile returned. Triumphant. Do you? Emma froze. She watched as I declared boldly with a grin. I'm going to win Ethan back. I'll confess my feelings. Beg and plead that I still love him. Make him dump you and marry me instead. I squared my shoulders, anticipating Olivia's disgusted reaction. Instead, she gave me an odd look over my shoulder, asking, Ethan, would you really go back to your ex if she confessed? My smile died as icy dread pooled in my stomach. Turning slowly, I met Ethan's frosty gaze, my face burning like I'd been splashed with hot sauce. His white lab coat glowed amber in the sunset, those pale eyes boring into me. Try it, he said tonelessly. Try what? My voice cracked. Say you still love me. Golden light fractured across the lake surface, blinding me as the words hung between us. The glare swallowed Ethan's silhouette whole. Through the dizzying radiance, his voice echoed like it had traveled 10 years through time. Test your theory. See if I'd return. The buzzing in my ears subsided to reveal Olivia's retreating figure and Ethan's approaching footsteps. Frozen in my wheelchair, I numbly surrendered control as he gripped the handles. Shame, insecurity, and regret congealed into a boulder in my throat. Wind carried his quiet challenge as we moved along the shore. Nothing to say now? I picked at my nails, hospital gown flapping emptily against chemo-ravaged limbs. I was just being stupid earlier. Emma. Ethan stopped abruptly. Am I your punching bag? Is affection this disposable to you? The anger in his voice stung. I didn't mean. Today's charade was my idea. Olivia's cruel remarks came from my script. He knelt, sunset turning his irises molten. Tears blurred my vision. Why torture a dying woman? Congratulations. I spat bitterly. Dumping me paved your way to becoming the director's golden boy. Exactly. His jaw tightened, which proves how spectacularly you miscalculated. Ethan. Please, a nausea wave hit as tears fell. I'm sorry for humiliating you that day. I was wrong. Just, let me go. His thumb caught a teardrop. You misunderstand. The engagement rumor dies tonight. His touch lingered, decade-old hurt and hope warring in his eyes. The scripts flipped. Emma. This time, you don't get to run. Ethan gripped my shoulders tightly, buried his face for a deep breath before looking up at me. You think I care about that? His eyes reddened as he guided my hand to touch the stiff collar of his white coat. The coarse fabric scraped against my palm. I've walked this path already. Emma, do you really believe your humiliation matters to me? You think I don't know why you broke up with me? The Ethan who should have studied mathematics had become a doctor. He discarded his cherished aspirations to stand here before me now, eyes brimming with anguish. After enduring all these years to reach you, he demanded, voice cracking, you expect me to vanish because you say let me go? I froze. That clinical trial recruitment, I asked Olivia to forward it to you. Ethan's gaze burned. I knew you'd come. My thoughts whirled. I'd only ever confided in Olivia about our past, swearing her to secrecy. Had she betrayed me? Wind howled outside as a nurse called from the distance. Ethan rose, composure reassembling like shattered glass. Emma, he said with finality, you're ill. I won't fight you today. But you'll never escape me. Returning to my hospital room, I sat numb until my best friend waved her hand before my face. Earth to Emma? You look like you've seen a ghost. Ethan became a doctor. I know that. I'm not blind. She froze mid-eye roll, watching tears spill down my cheeks. Oh. You mean because of that night after she left. I called Olivia. Hey Emma. Her voice came through baby babble. What's up? It's about Ethan. Static silence filled the line. I told him. She finally confessed. I'm sorry. You vanished after dumping that stack of cash on him. Ethan camped outside my apartment for 7 days straight. College recruiters started following me around, my parents nearly threw a graduation party. Worst part? Her voice thickened. He lost 15 pounds. You'd have told him too. If you'd seen. She trailed off as muffled sobs interrupted us. All these years, his changed major, God. Emma. I've hated myself for this. I know. I rasped. Tears soaking my knees. Not your fault. The darkness swallowed my choked whimpers after we hung up. I'd been such a fool, crafting elaborate lies while the person who mattered most had known all along. Moonlight sliced through the hospital blinds as I curled tighter. Every gasping breath echoed the truth I'd run from. The boy I'd sacrificed everything to protect had willingly walked through fire to find me again. The hospital room door swung open. Ethan stood in the doorway, locking eyes with my tear-streaked face. His expression tightened as he hurried over. What's wrong? Are you in pain? My crumbling composure finally shattered. I burst into violent sobs. Why did you change your college application? You idiot. I don't need your sacrifices. Can't you understand that? Ethan froze, then unexpectedly relaxed. He silently endured my pounding fists against his chest. His patience unnervingly steady. You talked to Olivia? I sniffled, eyes burning. Yeah. Good enough. What's that supposed to mean? Ethan knelt down, gaze blazing upward. Let's get back together. No more breakup. Please? I instinctively recoiled, but his hands clamped on my shoulders. Emma! His raised voice forced me to meet his eyes. I know what you're afraid of. He raised his right hand. I swear I'll never take my own life because of you. Even if, his lips trembled, voice breaking. After agonizing hesitation, he forced out the words. Even if death separates us someday. I, Ethan, solemnly swear I'll never abandon my life for Emma. Cradling my face, he whispered, Now will you say you love me? The half-open window let in a breeze that chilled my damp cheeks. Moonlight pooled like liquid silver outside. Weary birds rustled lakeside reeds, seeking nightly shelter. I'd been that exhausted bird flapping desperately for a decade, pretending to be brave against the cancer gnawing at me. But terror still came. Nights spent cursing cruel fate, hating my rotten luck. Without constant motion, I'd plunge into despair's abyss. So tired. Too tired to keep flying solo. Maybe just one day's rest. Let Ethan be my temporary perch. When dawn comes, I'll spread wings toward inevitable darkness. I collapsed into his arms, tears soaking his shirt. After my second chemotherapy session, my weight hit rock bottom. Then life sucker punched me again. The landlord called demanding I vacate within 2 days for his son's wedding. Ethan sat beside me during the heated negotiation. Want me to handle this? He offered, brow furrowed. I hung up shaking. No need. The double penalty fee covers relocation. Years of medical nomadism made me expert at sudden moves. Move into my place. What? He avoided eye contact. It's near the hospital. Practical. My usual eloquence deserted me. But, wouldn't that? Not a problem. Thus I became temporary resident of Ethan's modern midtown apartment. Compact but well-designed. Sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of place that made fighting death feel slightly less impossible. Compared to my rented apartment, this place was infinitely better. Ethan had given me the passcode before leaving for work. The movers left my luggage in the living room for me to unpack later. Standing in the spacious living area, I scratched my head, still unable to believe I was now living with Ethan. Being in his personal space for the first time made me overly cautious. I sat rigidly on the sofa without daring to look around. Finally texting him, "Which room should I take?" "Any." "Huh?" He remained unresponsive. Undoubtedly busy with work. Swallowing my nerves, I tentatively entered the room to the right. Navy blue bedding. Gray blackout curtains. A wireless charger with an expensive watch. And a walk-in closet filled with Ethan's dress shirts. Oh, this was clearly the master bedroom. I quietly shut the door and claimed the other bedroom for my suitcase. Dusk settled as I prepared dinner and set the table. Exhaustion overtook me while waiting, and I dozed off at the dining table. The sound of the door opening startled me awake. "My wig precariously askew. You're back." MHM. Ethan's gaze burned hotter than during our hospital encounters. Whether real or imagined. Flustered, I adjusted my wig. "I already ate. I'll head to bed now. Don't wait up for me next time," he said quietly, withdrawing his intense stare. Of course. I practically fled to the guest room. Examining my wig in the mirror, I grimaced. This was my favorite piece. Had it slipped earlier? Please tell me he didn't see. Removing the wig, I stared at my reflection. Thinning hair mocked me from the mirror. This was only my second chemo session. Soon enough, I'd need to shave it all off. Knocks interrupted my misery. Toiletries are in the bathroom. Coming out? I killed the lights and dove under the covers. Going to sleep. Silence followed. He lingered briefly before leaving. It wasn't until after midnight, when all lights had extinguished, that I finally crept out to brush my teeth. A faint light glowed from the living room. Ethan sat on the couch surrounded by stacks of documents, his face illuminated by a desk lamp. He immediately spotted me sneaking around without my wig. Frozen in the doorway, I debated retreating to my room or proceeding with my nightly routine. Ethan set down his papers and approached. I just woke up. Need to wash up. Don't move." He pinned my hand against the wall, his breath warm against my face before kissing me. My body trembled as my pulse skyrocketed, our ragged breaths intertwining in the darkness. His silhouette blocked the only light source, amplifying every sound, the rustle of his dress shirt against my hair, the audible swallow in his throat, our synchronized heartbeats accelerating. We kissed until my lungs burned. Avoiding me? I instinctively ducked my head, then jerked it back up to hide my scalp. "Who'd avoid a narcissist like you?" Ethan smoothed my hair, his eyes holding mine. Better. Better how? Like this." He nuzzled my nose. "Without the wig. Wanted to kiss you for ages. But you kept fussing over that thing." I turned away bitterly. "Stop looking. It's hideous. Beautiful." He tugged me toward the bathroom and flipped the light on. The electric clippers on the counter gleamed under the sudden brightness. "Can you give me a haircut?" My lips trembled. "I'm not ready to shave mine yet." "For me." He handed me the clippers. "I want you to do it." "Are you insane?" I stared at his thick dark hair, imagining him bald. Ethan dragged over a stool. "Patience, trust, experience. Make me look seasoned." The clippers hummed to life. Tears pricked my eyes. "No. You're doing this to show solidarity." He steadied my shaking hand. "Trust me." His grip never faltered. With each vibrating pass, Locks of Ethan's hair cascaded to the floor. He really didn't show any mercy. Not a single strand was left. I pouted at his reflection in the mirror. This backfired completely. You look younger now. Like a fresh intern at the hospital. The razor got tossed aside. Ethan stood up, gazed at my teary eyes, and brushed his lips against mine. Being bald means I can stick to you every day. Perfect arrangement. When I start laughing through tears, he added, you won't hold grudges when shaving my head later, since I've already shaved yours first. I couldn't help chuckling. I'll still be mad at you. Our reflections showed contrasting expressions, one tear-streaked with awkward smile, the other beaming with tender affection. His arms circled my shoulders. Fine. Cling to me all you want. I'll take whatever scolding. Later, when buying wigs, I got Ethan one too after multiple incidents where his students gaped at his bald head, undermining his professorial dignity. He accepted readily. From then on, we only removed our wigs at home. Months later, when treatments stabilized my condition, our class monitor organized another gathering. Emma, how's your health? Let's make this your celebration. I won't invite him this time to avoid awkwardness. I put the call on speakerphone while Ethan fixed a light bulb. He glanced at my screen. Emma and I will attend, he stated calmly. The monitor choked mid-sip before exclaiming, Ethan? Since when? We're back together. Glass clattered on the other end. Climbing down the ladder, Ethan took the phone. Saturday works. Send Emma the details. Hanging up, I fretted. But your Friday night shift, maybe we should skip. The gathering's at noon. He'd barely have time to sleep before 10 a.m. Saturday. No. We missed our reunion 10 years ago. His back turned while tidying chairs. Not missing this one. Watching him work. I rubbed my eyes, smiling. Then I'll pick nice wigs. Get me one too. The reunion buzzed with warmth this time. We got dragged to the center booth immediately, surrounded by curious classmates. When did you two reconcile? Who made the first move? Last time were you fighting? Blushing, I faltered while Ethan answered calmly. Got back together months ago. My initiative. Last time was my fault, I acted childish. Amid knowing smiles, old memories poured out like scattered beans. I was the first to know Emma had a crush on Ethan back then. She admitted it herself. Come on. You think you found out earlier than me? I caught Emma slipping a love letter into Ethan's desk. Wait. Really? I saw a photo of Emma secretly kissing Ethan. No way. When was that? Spring semester freshman year. On the honor roll bulletin board. Ethan's photo was top row. Emma had to stand on a chair to reach it. My face burned crimson under Ethan's contemplative gaze. He leaned close, breath warm against my ear. You kissed my photo? I jerked away, mumbling, so what if I did? Ethan simply smiled as the conversation shifted. By the way, Ethan, did your family move? Your house was empty last Lunar New Year. Not sure, he replied evenly. Haven't been home in years. The group moved on, but I noticed Ethan's subtle tension. Before I could dwell, our drunk class monitor dragged us into a new game, Truth or Dare. The bottle spun first to Ethan. He drew a card, number of serious relationships. Most memorable one? Ethan held my gaze. 1. With Emma. My heart hammered in sync with his words. When the bottle pointed at me, most heartbreaking cry, and why? Someone coughed. Monitor. Skip this. Emma just recovered, the group nodded, assuming I'd answer with my cancer diagnosis. I squeezed Ethan's hand. First chemo session. Finding Ethan's graduation letter in my backpack. Because my person wasn't there when I needed him most. His fingers tightened around mine. Later rounds brought other revelations. Ethan drank through several personal questions until the final spin landed on him. Something you've wanted to do forever? The monitor offered a shot glass. Ethan pushed it aside. Marry Emma. The sleepy gathering erupted. Amid the uproar, I stared at him. I'd never dared dream of marriage before tonight. Our tipsy monitor shouted, "Let's toast these lovebirds finally making it after 10 years, save the speech for their wedding." Someone laughed. Exactly. We won't need an MC, just get the monitor drunk again. The room echoed with laughter as Ethan's thumb traced circles on my palm. Silent promises weaving through the chaos. As the last taxi drove away, the night's festivities came to an end. Our class president rubbed his eyes and patted both Ethan and me on the shoulders. "All right. You two take care of each other. I'll be waiting for that wedding toast." Watching his retreating figure, I suddenly envisioned our wedding ceremony with him enthusiastically emceeing the reception. I shook Ethan's hand, hesitating before asking, "What about your parents? Do they have any objections?" "Don't worry about them." His words carried the slight slur of someone who'd been drinking. Back at our apartment, he wordlessly carried me to the master bedroom. His lips found mine in fierce kisses, his strong nose brushing against the tip of mine and my cheeks, making my heart pound violently against my ribs. "Ethan, wait." "No waiting." His gravelly voice silenced me with another searing kiss that dissolved all my anxieties. Beneath my palm, I felt the thunderous rhythm of his heartbeat, vibrant, powerful, and full of life. Gradually, I stopped resisting, surrendering to the indescribable ecstasy. In the darkness, I fumbled blindly for Ethan's hand. He captured it against his chest, pressing a tender kiss to my knuckles. "Tell me if you're tired." "Not tired. Just hold me. Always." True to his word, he ended the night earlier than usual to spare my strength. Drifting into a light doze, I became vaguely aware of Ethan's voice cutting through the silence like shards of ice. His tone held an unfamiliar hostility that made me sit upright. Padding barefoot across the floor, I cracked open the bedroom door. His biting words carried clearly from the living room. "I've made myself clear, Mother. This is my life. Stay out of it." My grip tightened on the doorknob until the metal bit into my sweaty palm. Though I knew I shouldn't eavesdrop, my feet carried me to the edge of the hallway like they had minds of their own. "Mrs. Johnson's shrill voice pierced the air. "Should I stand by while you marry some terminally ill girl? You've worked so hard to build this career. Why throw it away?" Ethan's bitter laugh made me flinch. "And whose sacrifice got me here? Without Emma, there would be no Dr. Ethan Johnson. The Johnson family certainly wouldn't have their dutiful physician attending every medical appointment. That was your obligation." His mother snapped. "My obligation?" Ethan's voice turned dangerous. "When you forged my college applications to keep me trapped in this city for your financial gain. Did you ever consider this day would come?" The silence stretched like piano wire before Ethan delivered his ultimatum. "If you want to remain part of my life, you'll treat Emma with respect. One wrong move toward her, and you'll be dead to me." The crash of a phone hitting the glass coffee table coincided with my poorly timed sneeze. Ethan rounded the corner instantly, his initial anger melting into weary resignation at the sight of me shivering in my nightgown. "Frostbite isn't romantic, you know," he sighed, eyeing my bare feet. I scratched my head. "Oh, I came out for water." "Go back to bed. I'll get you water." "Okay." I scrambled under the covers just as Ethan entered with a glass, leaving only my eyes exposed. Fresh from an argument with his parents, his demeanor carried glacial detachment. Sitting up with blankets clutched to my chest, I asked, "Were you serious earlier?" "About which part?" "Your parents altering your college applications." Ethan watched me finish drinking before taking the empty glass. "Yes. Had you not helped me modify my applications that afternoon, I might have discovered their interference only when acceptance letters arrived. Don't blame yourself. Without you, there'd be no Dr. Johnson today." In the darkness, I pressed closer, wrapping myself around him. Was medical school awful? No. Liar. Truth. His hand moved in slow circles across my back. Sometimes I think people's meetings and reunions are predestined. My voice muffled against his shoulder even if we'd never met. Ethan's gaze burned through the dark. Conviction ironclad. Yes. Whether sooner or later, Ethan and I would always find each other. From that night, I began seriously considering marriage. Ethan assured me my condition had excellent survival rates. Unlikely to impact lifespan. With no recurrence. You'll likely become a feisty old lady. He'd said. We set our wedding for 6 months later, time enough for me to regrow hair. At least we won't have 2 bald newlyweds. I'd joked. When autumn leaves turned, I'd regained healthy weight. My scalp boasting dark curls again. Rosy-cheeked and bouncing with energy. I finally called my parents after 9 months' silence. Mom answered, Emma? How's Beijing? Any doctor updates? Stable. Probably, fine. Good. We almost visited last spring. But your brother's middle school applications, they'd had my brother soon after my diagnosis. Their world narrowing to his soccer games and honor roll. I didn't resent them. A dying daughter can't compete with a thriving son. They'd spent their savings on my treatments before his birth anyway. Before hanging up, I blurted, I'm getting married. Someone actually wants to marry you? Her shock leaked through. Ethan Johnson. The hematologist you met years ago. Oh, nice. Your father and I approve. When's the... She interrupted herself. Your brother spilled dog treats. We'll talk later. The dial tone drowned my unspoken request for family meeting. Ethan squeezed my hand. Their thoughts? I stared blankly. They got a puppy. Nobody told me. From round-the-clock care to shared hospital shifts to solitary treatments. From weekly calls to biannual check-ins to this, they'd adopted a dog without mentioning it. Ethan understood without explanation. Anchoring me with certainty, our marriage is ours to design. Just us two. Agreed? The wedding was finally held in Beijing. It wasn't a grand affair, we simply invited classmates and friends to dinner on the night we got our marriage license. Our class president got drunk again, sobbing uncontrollably and insisting on officiating despite everyone's attempts to stop him. The atmosphere that night was wonderful. Under his tipsy direction, Ethan and I had a small ceremony and received heartfelt blessings from our friends. My best friend tugged at Ethan's sleeve, demanding he swear to treat me well as everyone laughed and cheered. The next day, Ethan and I began our honeymoon. We'd promised to take countless photos at every destination to fill our home's memory wall. Over the years, we traveled across mountains, lakes, deserts, and snow-capped peaks, all immortalized in framed snapshots. The youthful newlyweds in those pictures gradually matured, their smiles deepening with faint laugh lines. 20 years have passed since that Beijing evening. Today, I walked out of the hospital clutching clean lab results, watching Ethan lean against our car waiting for me. I made a silent wish to stay healthy enough for 20 more years together. Epilogue: elderly Ethan's perspective. Emma passed at 69, still our feisty little old lady to the end. She'd bounced through life until her leukemia recurred, slipping away during her 3rd round of chemo. By then I'd become Dr. Ethan Johnson, the distinguished academic, receiving condolences about her ripe old age. Everyone kept saying she'd beaten the odds. That surviving 5 decades post-diagnosis was miraculous. Even in her final moments, she'd squeezed my hand grinning. 69. Tell me I'm badass. Use my case studies. Find some dancing grannies after I'm gone. Bet you're sick of me after 40 years. Modern medicine had advanced light years from our youth. But aggressive treatments felt cruel for someone her age. We'd chosen palliative care together. When the end came, I arranged everything calmly: the funeral, the notifications, the empty house. 40 childless years meant sudden silence. Her floral blouses still hung in our closet. The half-dead spider plant she neglected still got watered. Our memory wall remained untouched, thousands of photos from our first honeymoon at 28 to last year's Suzhou garden strolls at 68. Sometimes I sit on the couch staring at those captured decades. When hunger strikes, I shop and cook as usual. My worried students initially checked daily, fearing grief might consume me. But 6 months later, they found me writing textbooks, compiling lifetime knowledge in spotless rooms. The relief in their eyes mirrored my own realization. She'd left me with the ultimate gift, enough shared years to make goodbye bearable. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Ethan was now 74 years old, reaching an age where even a common cold would leave him coughing for weeks. Today marked his wedding anniversary with Emma. Knowing he'd visit the cemetery to pay respects to his late wife, his students deliberately stayed away to give him privacy. Ethan rose before dawn, meticulously groomed himself, and used hair dye to cover his silver strands. On his way, he carefully selected freshly bloomed roses still glistening with morning dew. As usual, he first stopped to see the septuagenarian cemetery caretaker. Back again, Ethan? The old man chuckled while rummaging through mailboxes. No letters from her this year. Ethan nodded silently before proceeding to Emma's grave. Settling against the headstone, he produced a bundle of pristine letters from his coat, each preserved in archival plastic sleeves without so much as a creased corner. These were the posthumous letters Emma had arranged to be delivered through the caretaker over the years, with explicit instructions: only give these if he keeps visiting. If he stops coming, let him move on. Rereading the first letter despite knowing every word by heart, Ethan's lips curved at Emma's characteristic banter. Ethan, miss me terribly? Stop right there. Remember your promise to live well. Your student came whining about research obstacles. Get back to work for humanity's sake. And tend my spider plant properly. Bring it indoors in winter. Shield it from summer sun. And for God's sake don't overwater. Bring it next year. The second year's letter teased, look at you. Plant whisperer. Should have had kids to fuss over. Now you're stuck alone. Met any nice widows lately? Let me know. I'll scout prospects down here. Scattered among practical advice were nostalgic detours. Remember that amazing yak hot pot in Jizhaga 34? We should have gone back. Do it for me? Southern lychees ripen in summer. Book flights for the good cultivars. We barely scratched Jiangxi's spice trails. Still handling heat like before? Ethan chuckled wetly, hearing her voice in every line. The stack dwindled until only last year's letter remained. Still coming? What professor wastes years chatting with a ghost? I'm tapped out. Ethan, these 20-odd letters were insurance against you doing something rash. If you're reading this, congratulations on moving forward. But if not, well, I'm sorry for leaving you. Forcing my version of life on you was selfish. No more longevity wishes, just happiness. You choose. As autumn deepened, no new letters arrived. Perhaps none were needed anymore. That winter night, the caretaker stumbled through fresh snowfall after drinking. Broom in hand, rounding a path, he spotted a familiar figure embraced by snowdrifts. Ethan curled peacefully against the headstone, frost feathering his lashes. A gentle nudge received no response. Hey, Ethan? Ethan Johnson collapsed straight back. He was 74 years old. 5 years after their separation. Amidst the howling snow, Ethan seemed to catch a hazy glimpse of Emma's figure. She appeared as a warm orb of light, smiling and waving to him from afar. Ethan took a step forward, walking toward her, their fingers intertwined tightly. The meetings and reunions between people are fated by destiny. Ethan and Emma were meant to be together. It was only ever a matter of time.